won the Kettle Award, received it in 1993.
Kirk Vashaw, the chairman and CEO of Spangler, a fourth generation Spangler, and I received the Kettle Award in 2023.
And I'm Pat Hurley, retired, but I received the Kettle Award in 2000.
Proudest accomplishment. 40 plus years of Spangler Candy, for one. It allowed me to grow with the company as the company grew, and it was a wonderful opportunity. Probably one of the proudest moments was receiving the Kettle Award, but for the work that I had been involved with the industry. Chairman of the National Confectioners Association, and on and on and on. But it was a great career and a great involvement with the candy industry.
I think you have too many to list, Duane. You have too many accomplishments to list. Oh my gosh, your career is so long. My career is relatively short.
Yeah, I've got a long list.
Yeah,
get more of
it really does. Mine would be, I just loved, and it was around the 2011-2012 time period when Dum Dums became the #1 lollipop in the U.S. by dollar volume and by count. That was really exciting for the factory. And it's a position that we maintain and work very hard to maintain because we've got fierce competition. But that was exciting. Very excited about the water tower. This is more recent, but this has been one. There have been very few things I've ever done business-wise that have had no one on the opposite side saying that was a bad idea. No one said that was a waste of money or that's commercialism. Everybody in the community really enjoys that. And that's just very rare to do. There's usually somebody that opposes something. Like there's usually something controversial in almost anything that you do. But that one, it's been real exciting for the community and the company, and I'm proud of that.
You've done a great job with it.
I didn't paint it though. Someone else painted it. But yeah, he was up there on the on the lift painting it during windy days. So really, Eric Henn was the painter of the water tower. So really, the credit goes to him. But that was certainly a fun project. How about you, Pat? You go.
Okay, I've been with Spangler for 50 years, and the most accomplishments I believe I made was the education of people to the candy industry. I worked with PMCA, AACT, and NCA, putting on programs to educate your members of candy industry. Other than that, I did a lot of research and stuff for Spanglers and stuff. And it was a wonderful, wonderful career. And I had a good boss. Bosses too. That's all the difference in the world. Okay.
We produce smiles. The industry produces smiles. We produce smiles for little kids with Dum Dums and candy canes. I mean, that's just part of the fabric of celebrating holidays is candy. So it's such an important industry, I think, and we're in a world that needs more smiles. I think COVID, you found a lot of people that were more anti-sugar. We shouldn't have as much candy, in our diets. And there is an obesity problem, and there's a problem with people getting too much sugar in their diets. But I think what people realized was, candy is a small. People don't really eat that much candy. In the scheme of things, that's not where they're getting the sugar. And a lot of people realized that during COVID. Like, no, it is important to have family movie night and enjoy the treats. And so candy has done very well since COVID, because I think people do recognize it's just an important part of mental well-being and celebrating life. And so that's what the confectionery industry is to me. It's a fantastic industry to be in. And we have so many great family businesses that it's a broad, diverse industry with lots of different players. And I think we all are trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to grow. We're all trying to make more smiles for people, and that's a good place to be. And I think the industry really supports itself in advance. You know, it's competitive, yes, but we all want to see the industry do well, and I think that's at the heart of every candy company.
Well said. Yeah, very much so. When I started with Spangler, I was in a position, I just needed a job. You know, and it opened up a whole new world as I began to grow the company. And in the industry, I could not believe the number of closely held family companies. A lot of them based around the Chicago area, some of them based around San Francisco, a lot of them in Philadelphia. And I had the opportunity to visit a number of them and get to meet the people behind them, and these family people. And it was an exciting time, an interesting time for me, all part of my growth and opportunity. So, yeah,
the whole aspect of being able to provide jobs in the community is, I think, another thing we're all proud of.
Yes.
It's difficult, but you know, the folks that we have over 500 now. You know, it's important that we provide stable employment and good wages and benefits. Of course, everyone would like them to be more, but it's a competitive world. But I think we provide that, and that's important for stabilities for our employees, for their families, and they depend on what the company does, and it's important that we continue to grow it so they can benefit. That's very important to the community that we have these jobs.
Very important to the employees. I realized back in my beginning, we had like 400 employees, and then things began to automate and so forth, and which means the employees had to improve their skills. And they were afraid they were going to lose their jobs, you know, because we're automating. Well, no, nobody really lost a job.
We've never laid off someone because of automation, but we've done a lot of automation.
But it's the training that goes into it afterwards that's very satisfying, really, to help people grow.
That's what I said a little earlier, to help people grow and everything. We work with the confectionery industry to provide education so that their jobs are top-notch. We did a lot of work on that, and I was very happy about it. It was one of the highlights of my career. So.
Well, and it's so we have Dum Dums is going to be 100 years old in 2024. So is Bit of Honey. There's plenty of old candy brands, and it's the industry is nostalgic. So that's actually a plus to be, that to have those venerable brands. But Dum Dums are made completely different now than they were. Maybe not completely, but the automation and the food science and the food safety behind all of the candies has evolved over 100 years. But it's done so really without affecting the taste of it. I mean, that's what we've always tried to do. And so when Pat talks about the education and the advancement and the research, it evolves the industry without changing the industry, without changing the product, which is just very difficult to do. I mean, now we're making 12.5 million Dum Dums a day. I'm sure if you told somebody back when Spangler brought Dum Dums back in 1950 that was even possible, they would tell you that's not possible. And it probably wasn't back then, but it is now. And it's because we keep investing in the future. And I don't know how it will change in the future, but I know that it will.
And I'm sure we will be involved as we have been right along. I think back to the National Confectioners Association. I was very instrumental in setting up the candy school in Wisconsin, the University of Wisconsin.
Which they still have today.
They still have it today. And it's great because companies can send their key people for education, learning. So I think Spangler as a whole has been very instrumental in pursuing that and helping educate the industry.
I think the industry is changing because of the safety, sanitation, safety of the products that are made, the environment. That is very important. And today, the sanitation safety levels are way up from what I had when I was 1969, 1970.
Yeah, I see it has its pluses and its minuses, but there's quite a bit of consolidation going on within the industry. Like I say, can be good, but it's also has the opposite effect. But there isn't anything that we are going to do about that. That's life.
Yeah, that's been going on for a while, and
it sure has.
But there are new companies that are springing up all the time. So I wouldn't say, yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of them, and I do think just the industry itself is very supportive of new companies coming in. Like I think there's a bunch of them from the Michael Rosenbergs and the Promotion in Motion. This company's more established now, but there's Stuff Pups with Michael Tierney. There's other folks. Tori and Howard is relatively new. Fandango, Carrie Abbott's company down in Indianapolis. So there's new ones that come up. So even though there's some consolidation, I think the industry really does, and it is about variety and new things as much as it's about the venerable candies. There's also people like trying new stuff, and so I think that's part of the industry, and I think everyone welcomes those new entrants.
Sanitation-wise, we have private companies coming in and grading us on how we operate. Levels, it was a AAA or AA. When they look at their records, look at their sanitation practices, the building itself. And a long time ago, we didn't have that. We do now.
Yeah, there's a lot more regulation today than there was a long time ago, and I don't think it's overregulated. I mean, if you jump back 100 years, this industry had a problem with people dying eating candy, right? So food safety has come a long way. I mean, no one's dying of candy now. It's more.
That was
more minute things, and maybe there's a piece of metal, but even the metal detection now is so much better than it.
That was the reason that the National Confectioners Association was formed. Was they began to realize they needed some quality assurance throughout the industry, and that was the beginning of the National Confectioners Association. They finally got their heads together and said, "Hey, we got to fix this."
Yeah. So the company certainly changed in many ways. In many ways, it's the same, I think. Just the philosophy, we call them our basic beliefs.
Basic beliefs.
Honest, practical, market-wise, and independent. That is the same now as it was 80, 90 years ago. And so that philosophy, we haven't changed. And so that's, that's just, it just goes on. And that helps our culture, which makes us be able to respond quickly to things because we have a good team and the team knows what to do and they're thinking, we're thinking alike as we approach business problems, and that's a competitive advantage for Spangler. Those cultures they take a long time to build up, and Duane and Pat, that's that's the legacy of these folks, and Pat's involvement and Duane's involvement, and even going back to Ted Spangler, their involvement in the industry, in education, in furthering the industry, that's in Spangler's, that's literally in our blood, and the way that we think about the business. That hasn't changed at all.
That's right. That's right.
Everybody's got a, so you have these older candy brands, not just ours, but they evolve. They evolve to look relevant and to have more relevant flavors and things like that. Whereas, and we do have some newer flavors on Dum Dums, and we also have what we call our sacred cows, which would be root beer and butterscotch and cream soda. Like those are very unique to Dum Dums. Chocolate's always been a hard one to get in a hard candy. But yeah, there's people that just identify the brand with those with those flavors. As far as discontinued items, I mean, if you go in our museum, I've called it a museum of failures. So all this stuff, I mean, there's hundreds of stuff that we've tried over the years have failed, sometimes quickly and sometimes more slowly, but that's part of the business cycle, right? Of trying new things, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. You gotta learn from that. But if you went into our store museum, you would think that, oh my gosh, this is a bankrupt company, because of all the things that we don't do anymore. It's staggering how many. If you start with suck an egg, you know a lot more of them than I do.
Oh yeah, suck an egg, smokes. Cigarettes.
Oh, you get arrested if you did that
today.
Yeah, these are the bubblegum cigarettes, and you blew
Astro Pops.
Astro Pops. Yeah. So we worked when the company turned 100 back in 2006. We opened this little store museum as just a test, and Ann Spangler, who is my aunt, so she's third generation, she was in charge of curating it and just did a fantastic job getting a lot of these old artifacts and old things in the history. And we started that, and then we rented a trolley and did these trolley tours around the factory for the public, and pretty soon we had 4 trolleys running around the factory, and we've given tours to over 100,000 people, and it grew, and we outgrew the space. When COVID hit, and it was also a problem that we had 4 trolleys running around the factory, and we're also trying to make candy, and we literally had traffic jams. We had to put in stoplights because of the forklifts, and it just got to be overwhelming. And then just from a security point of view and a food safety point of view, just having, I think we did a good job with it, but there's always, hey, you're letting strangers into your plant, whereas, we have very strict protocols now when you come in and visit. You got a driver's if who is it from if there's ever a food safety problem, you know exactly who's in your plant. So we had to stop those during COVID. It was kind of an excuse to. So we bought this 150-year-old building up on the downtown square, and we've been working really the last 2 years renovating it. So it's going to open here by the end of the year, and it's a lot more kid-friendly than the old store museum, which is a little bit more, we had some kids activities, but for the most part it was very museum-oriented, which is not something that kids appeals to kids. But this is going to be very interactive. It's going to have a movie theater in it, so you can actually get kind of a virtual tour of the factory. We've got a lot of kid-friendly activities. We've got some robots, and there's 2 robots. One of them's called Duane, after Duane, and the other's called Dave, after Dave Bauer,
Yeah, Dave
because
Bauer.
you guys were the ones
That brought the robots.
that brought the robots to Spangler Candy back in the early
Oh, boy,
90s. So
that was a challenge.
we decided, but yeah, so kids will be able to learn about 6-axis robots and kind of how the different joints work, and they'll have controllers, and then there's a game that they can play to see who can pick up the dum-dums and move them to the bucket the fastest. So that will be with Duane and Dave, the robots.
Dave will win.
Yes. So that's something we're doing, and there's other interactive things that kids can learn about. Really kind of STEM oriented. So just for example, thinking about, well, how do you outfit a truck with pallets, and you have to fit it within the weight parameters, and you can't have the weight too far forward and back. So this type of kind of logical activities.
It's gonna be neat.
Yeah, so we have stuff for them. We've got a Sweethearts Chapel for photos and anything else, perhaps marriages. We'll see. I would not be surprised that someone actually does want to tie the knot in our little Sweethearts Chapel, but there might be some pretend ones for sure. And then obviously there's a retail space, and we've got a party room too that kids can rent out, or families can rent out for birthday parties and things like that, and then have the kids do the activities. So we're really excited about it starting up.